All right, let's do it. Time to really get into Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
This book is huge EE right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about it for good reason, but we're going to dive deep into it, and I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this.
Totally.
This book, it's all about making tiny changes,
Right.
but getting big results, and I have a feeling this might change your whole view of self-improvement.
I think so too.
So, to kick things off, what is it about this book that's resonating with so many people?
Well, I think a lot of it is that Clear just avoids those typical self-help cliches.
Yeah.
He just gives you this really practical, straightforward framework for actually building those good habits we all want and ditching the bad ones.
Which, let's be real, we could all use a little help with.
Totally.
So let's talk about the core idea here, atomic habits.
Okay.
What exactly are we talking about?
Well, the idea is that you focus on making these tiny, almost imperceptible improvements each day.
Like 1% better each day, right?
Exactly.
That seems kind of small. Right.
But what's fascinating is that these small changes can compound over time.
Absolutely. Yeah, think about it this way. If you got just 1% better every day for a year,
Yeah.
by the end of that year, you would be 37 times better.
Whoa, wait, seriously?
Yeah.
37 times? That's insane. It's so much less overwhelming than thinking you have to make these massive changes all at once.
Right. It's about consistency and the power of small wins.
I like that, small wins. So how do we make this work in real life?
Well, Clear lays out this concept called the habit loop.
Okay.
And it's got these 4 stages. There's the cue, the craving, the response, and then the reward.
Okay, break that down for me. Give me a real-world example.
All right, so think about your morning routine,
Okay.
when you're getting ready for work.
I know it well.
So your cue, it could be something like the smell of coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Brewing, right. And then that triggers the craving, that urge for that first sip.
Oh, tell me about it.
So then your response is to get up, make that coffee.
And your reward is that delicious caffeine boost to start your day.
Oh, I see it. I see it. So understanding this loop, it's like we can hack our own habits,
Exactly.
but how would I use this to break a bad habit?
So that's where Clear's 4 laws of behavior change come in.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right, so the first one is you got to make it obvious.
Make it obvious.
And this is all about your environment. So let's say you're trying to, I don't know, drink more water.
Good one.
You always want to make sure you have like a full water bottle on your desk.
Right in front of you.
Right there. So you see it, you're reminded to drink.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Right.
Exactly. And then the second law, you got to make it attractive.
Okay. Make it sexy.
Right. So think about pairing something you need to do with something you actually enjoy.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Maybe you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're working out.
Ooh, okay, see, now that's something I can get behind because I gotta tell you, it is hard to get myself to exercise.
Yeah, but if you link it to something enjoyable, it makes it so much easier.
Okay, I'm liking these laws. What's next?
All right, number 3, you have to make it easy.
Oh, now you're talking my language.
This is about reducing friction. So if you're trying to, let's say, learn a new language, don't try to cram in an hour of study every day. Start with just 5 minutes.
Okay, I can do 5 minutes.
Maybe while you're waiting for that coffee to brew.
Perfect. So 5 minutes of language learning, then that delicious reward.
You got it.
See, I've always tried to do too much too fast.
Right.
It's no wonder I fail.
Yeah, starting small is key.
Small is good, small is achievable. Okay, so I'm assuming the 4th law is make it hard to keep us on our toes.
Actually, it's make it satisfying.
Oh, even better.
It's all about the reward. So give yourself a little something you enjoy after you stick to your new habit for, I don't know, a week.
Like a little treat. I like it.
Exactly. Positive reinforcement goes a long way.
Okay, so these laws, they're great for building good habits, but how do they work for breaking bad ones?
So you basically just invert them.
Okay, so reverse psychology for my bad habits.
Kind of. So instead of make it obvious, you make it invisible.
Interesting.
So let's say you're trying to, I don't know, cut back on social media.
Oof, that's a tough one.
You delete those apps from your phone.
I've tried that.
And it helps.
It does. It's amazing how much less I reach for it when it's not right there.
Exactly. You're removing the cue that triggers that whole habit loop.
This is really making me rethink how I approach, everything. But there's this other idea in the book that I found super interesting, identity-based habits.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's not just about changing what you do, but changing who you believe you are.
It's a shift in mindset.
So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, I'd say, I am a healthy person.
Exactly.
Powerful stuff.
It's about aligning your actions with your self-image.
I like that you're not just going through the motions. You're becoming the person who naturally does those things.
Right. Your habits become an extension of who you are.
This is really eye-opening. But what about our surroundings?
Oh, yeah. Clear talks a lot about environment design.
Because they matter.
They really do. Even small tweaks can make a huge difference.
Oh, 100%. I actually just rearranged my entire workspace
Nice.
to be more conducive to focus. I got rid of all the clutter.
Good for you.
Got some plants, better lighting. It's like a whole new vibe.
And I bet you feel more productive already.
Oh, yeah. It's like I created a space that reflects the person I want to be.
Exactly. It's about setting yourself up for success.
Okay, I'm loving all of this, but what about when we don't see results right away? You know, we're putting in the work, but it feels like nothing's happening.
Ah, the dreaded plateau.
That's exactly it. How do we push through that?
Well, Clear talks about this idea of the plateau of latent potential. Basically, when we first start building a new habit, the progress can be invisible, even though we're putting in the effort.
So, like, we're making those 1% changes, but not seeing any tangible results just yet.
Right, and he calls this the valley of disappointment.
Oh, the Valley of Disappointment. I know that place well.
It's where most people give up.
Yeah, because it feels like nothing's working.
But it's important to remember that change takes time.
You're telling me.
It's like planting a seed. You don't see the sprout immediately, but it's growing beneath the surface.
I love that analogy. I'm going to remember that next time I'm feeling discouraged.
It's a good one. Trust the process. Those small, consistent actions, they're compounding, even if you can't see the results right away.
Okay, so we need to be patient and persistent.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another key point, habits as systems.
So it's not enough to just set goals. We need to have systems in place. What does that mean?
It means you're focusing on the process, not just the destination. You're building a roadmap to get there. So you're creating routines, you're establishing processes, you're using tools to help you stick to your habits, even when your motivation dips.
So it's like creating a blueprint for success.
Exactly. You're designing your own success.
And is there a quote that really sums this up?
Oh, there's a great one that says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems."
Wow, that's powerful. It's a good reminder that even with big, ambitious goals, if our systems aren't there, we're probably going to fall short.
It's all about the foundation.
Okay, this is really resonating with me. I'm starting to see the power of systems.
And that's the beauty of Atomic Habits. It gives us a framework to understand how habits work and how we can actually create lasting change.
This has been so insightful.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like I'm finally understanding the science behind habits and how to actually make them stick. But what are some practical tips, for building those systems we talked about?
Well, Clear offers a bunch of advice in the book, but one of my favorites is habit stacking.
Habit stacking? Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so habit stacking, it's this super simple but really effective technique where you basically link a new habit you want to build
Right.
onto an existing habit that you already do consistently.
Like piggybacking on something I'm already doing.
Exactly. You're using that existing momentum to your advantage,
Yeah.
building on something that's already automatic.
Okay, I like it. So how would I use this, like, in my own life?
Okay, let's say you want to start meditating every day,
Okay.
but you're having trouble finding the time.
Yeah, that's always the struggle, finding the time.
Right, so think about something you already do, like without fail, every single day.
Let me think. Oh, I know. I brush my teeth every morning.
Perfect. There's your anchor habit.
I anchor habit. Okay.
Now you stack your new habit, the meditation, on top of that existing habit.
Okay, so I'd be like, after I brush my teeth, I will meditate.
Exactly.
For how long?
We'll just start with 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, that seems doable.
Right. You're not trying to do too much too soon.
Yeah, small steps.
You're just building on what you already do.
So I'm leveraging the power of that existing habit to make it easier to stick to the new one.
Exactly. You're creating a chain reaction of positive behavior.
I see. And then once I'm good with those 2 minutes, I can bump it up.
Exactly. Small wins lead to big changes.
I like the sound of that. So is there another strategy like this where we can kind of trick ourselves into building good habits?
Oh, there's a good one called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling, that sounds a little dangerous.
It's not, I promise. It's actually about making your good habits more appealing
Okay.
by pairing them with something you genuinely enjoy. So you're basically linking an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
All right, I'm listening. Let me an example.
Okay, let's say you love listening to audiobooks,
Love them.
but you also know you should be spending more time cleaning your apartment.
Okay, that is me to a T. I've got like a million audiobooks I want to listen to, and my apartment is a disaster.
So with temptation bundling, you only allow yourself to listen to those audiobooks while you're cleaning.
Wait, so I can only enjoy this thing I love if I'm doing this chore I hate?
Yeah, but think of it as a win-win.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm getting things done, and I get to enjoy my audiobooks.
Exactly. You're creating a positive association with something you might normally resist.
I'm basically bribing myself to be productive.
Well, you could say that.
But hey, whatever works, right?
It's about understanding how your brain works and using that to your advantage.
This is honestly blowing my mind. I'm realizing how much control we actually have over our own habits.
That's the power of understanding the psychology behind them.
It's not about willpower, it's about strategy.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices and designing the life you want.
Okay, this is really making me rethink my whole approach to self-improvement, but I do want to go back to something we touched on earlier.
Yeah, what's that?
Habit tracking, I know it's supposed to be really helpful,
It is.
but I've always struggled with it. Like, how do you actually make it a consistent part of your routine?
It's definitely a challenge for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it's so worth it. The benefits are huge.
Okay, convince me, why is habit tracking so important?
Well, for one, it's about accountability.
Okay, so I'm less likely to skip a workout if I know I have to track it.
Exactly. But it's also about motivation and feedback.
Okay, tell me more about that.
When you visually see your progress, you're creating this tangible record of your commitment.
It's like proof that I'm actually doing the thing.
Right, and that can be super motivating, especially for those long-term goals.
Yeah, it's easy to lose sight of the big picture when you're just focusing on the day-to-day.
Exactly. But tracking helps you stay on course.
Okay, I can see that, but I'm also someone who gets discouraged really easily. Like, if I miss a day or two, I feel like I've failed.
And that's totally normal, but that's where the feedback part comes in.
Okay.
By tracking, you can start to notice patterns. You can identify those triggers that might be causing you to slip up.
So it's not about beating myself up for messing up.
No.
It's about using that information to adjust my approach.
Exactly. You're gathering data to make your habits stick.
Okay, I'm starting to see the value in this, but what's the best way to track?
Well, there's no right or wrong way.
So like fancy apps or just a simple notebook?
Whatever works for you. The important thing is to find a method you'll actually use consistently.
It's got to be sustainable. It's got to fit into my life.
Exactly. Don't overcomplicate it.
Okay, this is making me want to give habit tracking another shot. I think I was overthinking it before.
It's easy to do, but remember, it's not about perfection
It's about progress.
and about celebrating those small wins along the way.
Oh, that's so important. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and forget to acknowledge all those little victories.
But those small victories are what keep us motivated and moving forward.
This is really making me rethink my whole approach to building habits. It's not about deprivation or willpower. It's about strategy and design.
Exactly. It's about understanding yourself, setting up your environment for success, and celebrating every step along the way.
This is all so inspiring, but there's this other concept from the book that I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Okay, what is it?
The 2-minute rule. Can you tell me more about that?
Oh, yeah, the 2-minute rule. It's a classic.
Yeah, it sounded interesting, but I didn't quite grasp how to apply it.
It's super simple. Basically, you take any new habit you want to build
Okay.
and you scale it down to a version that takes no more than 2 minutes to do.
So, like, instead of trying to write a whole chapter of my book, I just commit to writing one sentence.
Exactly. Or instead of going for a 30-minute run,
You just put on your running shoes.
right, you just focus on that first tiny step.
That's brilliant. I can see how that would be so helpful because I often get overwhelmed by the thought of doing something big,
Right.
but breaking it down into a 2-minute chunk, it makes it feel so much less daunting.
And that's the whole point. You're overcoming that initial inertia.
It's like once you get started, it's easier to keep going.
Exactly. You're building momentum.
And the more you repeat that 2-minute version, the more automatic it becomes.
You're wiring in that new habit.
It's not about tricking yourself. It's about making the starting point so easy that you can't help but succeed.
You got it. You're setting yourself up for success.
This is such a practical concept. I love it. But what about those times when we inevitably slip up?
Yeah.
We've talked about celebrating the small wins, but how do we deal with the setbacks?
That's a great question because we all slip up.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the process.
So how do we get back on track when that happens?
Well, Clear has this concept in the book. He calls it the rule of 2.
The rule of 2? Okay, lay it on me.
Basically, never miss a habit twice in a row.
Oh, interesting.
So if you slip up one day, it's okay.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
Exactly. Just get back on track the next day.
Okay, so like damage control.
Right. Course correction.
If I miss a workout,
Don't let it turn into a week of skipping the gym.
just acknowledge it and move on.
Yeah, get back to your routine.
Okay, that makes sense. It's definitely more forgiving than the all or nothing mindset I usually have.
Right, it's about being kind to yourself.
Recognizing that setbacks are going to happen.
They're a normal part of life.
It's not about being perfect.
It's about progress.
And those little atomic habits, they add up over time.
They do. Consistency is key.
This is really making me rethink my whole approach to self-improvement.
Glad to hear it.
It's not about being hard on yourself
It's about understanding the process.
and setting yourself up for success.
Exactly.
And speaking of setting yourself up for success, I want to circle back to environment design
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
because it really resonated with me.
It's so powerful, right? The idea that we can create a space that supports our goals.
Yeah, we're not just fighting against our environment, we're using it to our advantage.
Exactly. You're designing for success.
So like if I'm trying to eat healthy,
But your pantry's full of junk food.
that's not going to work.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's like setting yourself up for failure.
But if you surround yourself with healthy options,
It makes it easier to make the right choices.
you're removing the temptation.
And it's not just our physical environment, right? What about our digital environment?
Oh, that's huge too. We're bombarded with distractions online,
Constantly.
social media, email, all of it.
Yeah, it's like a digital black hole.
But just like we can declutter our physical space, we can declutter our digital space too.
So unsubscribing from emails, turning off notifications.
Limiting social media.
Yeah, reclaiming our time and attention.
Exactly. It's about being intentional,
This is really making me think about all those subtle cues in our environment
both physical and digital.
that are constantly shaping our behavior.
We have more control than we realize.
It's empowering
It is.
to know that we can design our environment to support our goals,
And that we're not victims of our habits.
that we have the power to change.
That's the key takeaway from Atomic Habits.
This deep dive has honestly been so insightful.
I'm glad to hear it.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how habits work.
And how to create lasting change.
It's not just a self-help book.
It's a blueprint for a better life.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap things up.
I agree. This has been a great discussion.
I hope everyone listening has gotten as much out of this as I have.
I hope so too. Remember, the journey to building better habits, it's ongoing.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Be patient with yourself, be persistent, and celebrate every victory along the way.
And until next time, keep those atomic habits in motion.
Absolutely.